Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. Well, happy 4th of July, winners, for those of you who follow us in the United States. Happy Independence Day. And what better way to talk independence when also talking about sports? Wouldn't you say, my friend?
100% hello, winners, and happy Independence Day.
Woo-hoo.
Best country in the world.
That's right.
Woo.
Let's go. So please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. I want to give a shout out to Hard Rock Bet. You can find them in the description for sponsoring today's episode. Please check out Hard Rock Bet if you don't have an account with them. Great way to place a little bit of fun wager on players, games, and the like if you want to add a little spice to how you watch those games. But a lot going on. Big NBA draft that happened a little over a week ago, and now we kind of see how things are playing out, so we can chat about that, and we'll see what else comes to mind. But anything you want to kick us off with?
Yeah, so a lot going on before not much going on.
Yeah.
It's because just done, of course, with hockey, basketball, draft. So no, it's literally baseball until last weekend of August, which means start of college football, and my Longhorns going to Ohio State Buckeyes, national champions.
Gonna be a great game.
So that's we're gonna probably talk a lot this month about different like debates on what we feel about like best ever player, best ever teams, and things like that. But today we thought about doing a quick recap of the draft and then talking about what we feel needs to happen for teams to beat Oklahoma City next year, and what they should be doing during the transfer portal, etc. So we have enough to talk about sport. We could talk hours in a row. So let's get it started.
Yep, and thanks for joining us on this Independence Day, and hopefully you're having a hot dog or a burger or a steak and a nice frosty beverage as we talk about the draft. There was a lot of build up to the draft. Thought there was going to be a lot of massive trades that would shake things up, and actually what happened was the big trades happened before the draft. The draft itself had some elements of drama. We have some things some things we could share, some things we can't, but that were kind of funny. But
Oh boy.
I know. But I thought we were going to see a lot more big name player movement during the draft and teams using that to take some of these lottery picks, but didn't really materialize. I mean, what was your thoughts about the draft?
Yeah, same. I mean, I was expecting based on, so many names like who may be on the move that the draft was gonna trigger some more, but Kevin Durant move happened before. We had other move. Brooklyn was packing bunch of first round pick.
Most ever.
We thought that it was gonna be because they want to pack that to try to get a player like a Giannis or something, but nothing happened. Miami was expecting to have a lot of things happening with the Heat. Nothing. Again, the draft is the starting point, and then this week start the actually free agency. So I mean, at this time of the recording, maybe there are some big trade or happen, but probably more of players resigning with their team. That's probably what you probably gonna hear a lot today, tomorrow, and beginning of the free agency, and then it's gonna be like, okay, the movement will happen.
Yeah. Not a lot of big name free agents. So if there is going to be anything that shakes up what some of these teams are going to look like, it's going to happen through trades. And that's why I thought we'd expect more trade activity during the draft, but we'll see. I think some of the things that stood out from the draft, no surprise, Cooper Flagg goes number 1. I think everyone knows he's going to be a transcendent player. But I think, Ace Bailey got a lot of conversation about not working out for any of the teams, trying to drop maybe a little bit in the draft, which you rarely hear about a player wanting to do, but to get to New York or Washington, and Utah Jazz picks them, and it looked like somebody like killed his dog the way he looked in the back of the green room. But and then we had the guy who was drafted from Toronto. I forget, he's got like 3 names or whatever, but he got captured on camera saying a 4-letter word as soon as they announced his name because he did not Was not excited about going to Toronto from South Carolina. But other than that, I think a lot of it went pretty close to where people thought. I thought San Antonio had a great draft, and I think they really helped themselves. And I think uh, OKC, defending champions, got another defender to help them. But any teams kind of stand out that, I mean, obviously, I think Dallas adding Cooper Flagg makes them a contender. But anything that you think from the draft, teams really benefited themselves as they head into next year?
Well, I think yeah, Texas team for sure. But Utah, I know Bailey is Bailey clearly. I mean, this guy was smiling like all teeth out during the hour leading to the draft. So I was thinking, okay, this guy didn't train nowhere. He didn't had any workout done, and he's super happy. So I thought a team probably made in a promise that hey, don't do any kind of workouts with any team, and we pick you. It happens sometimes, but didn't go his way. He ended up in Utah, and it clearly was not the destination he wanted, but it's probably the best destination for him.
Yeah.
Utah has such a hole on the wings. They need he will have the most opportunity to play, most opportunity to actually he will be able to gun the shoot like as much as he wants because there is nothing on the wings in Utah.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think there's no better spot for him to actually for his basketball career. Now he clearly think more about the outside basketball. I think he wanted to go to DC, New York, Brooklyn. So he wanted to go on the East Coast. He's from Atlanta, and he just wanted to be around there. But if he's smart, which is still to be determined,
Yeah.
he should have a great pass in Utah. Utah also picked up the point guard from Florida,
Mhm.
Clayton Jr. So we know that he's a winner. He has a lot of potential. I think it's a good mix for Utah Jazz to rebuild around. So I think they were doing a good thing.
Yeah.
Washington, they have 5 players. They pick them all 5. They can easily
Brooklyn, you mean?
Brooklyn, sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
Brooklyn, and so they can easily if they just need to have 2 rights, and like you
Yeah.
mentioned, if they have 2 rights, that's going to be huge for them.
Mhm.
And I like their picks. I really do like their picks. So that's definitely something that I think um, will be very positive for the team.
Yeah.
Now, the player you wanted to mention about Toronto was Colin Murray Boyles.
Oh, that's right.
So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
clearly get up, shake his head no, and then say,
yeah. Yeah.
literally like very clearly. So can you imagine you are in the green room, you high five all the GMs and the president,
executives
owner,
of Toronto.
executive, they're all high fiving because they're happy for their pick. That's what they do. And then they see the dude getting up and be disgusted. You want to throw up in his mouth because he's heading to Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is when the kids get paid early. They feel like they should have a say about everything, but no. Like I said, the Texans team, San Antonio. I love San Antonio because of Wembyama. They get Harper. So again, Dylan Harper was clearly the second player that was gonna be picked. I thought it was him or Ace Bailey, but they picked him. They don't have a need for that, so they really take him because he's the best player on the board, which sometimes should be good, but we'll see because he has Fox, he has Castle, and he has other players. I think that will slow him down a lot. But he will be in a winning situation, so we'll see. Now San Antonio needs to clearly pick up a big guy somewhere. So we'll see what they're gonna do in the transfer period and the free agency because they clearly need a big guy. Because Wemby, even though he's 7'5", he's a wing player and a shooter, and he's not someone who will be like putting his shoulder down under the bucket. So they really need a center for San Antonio, and I think they got odd rebounded multi times last year because of that problem. So they need that. So I was expecting them to go more Bailey or more another direction for their 14th pick, but they decide to go direction. I mean, they pick up someone with tons of potential from Arizona. His name is Carter Bryant. He has tons of potential as a 3 player, but again, he's not a center. So Even though he's a shot blocker and he has a lot of potential, he's very raw. So again, that may be payoff or not. We're gonna know in 4 years.
Yeah, I think a few other things stood. I totally agree with all your takes. I think a few other things stood out for the number 2 pick in the draft. Dylan Harper, he got overshadowed by his mom. like, like she was beautiful,
Uh-huh.
and I mean, shout out to Ron Harper. I should have stayed with sports. But I think Dylan Harper's mom overshadowed Dylan Harper. If you look on social media, let's just say her following increased, I think, more dramatically than his. And then
I just hope that Will's wife is not listening.
she's used to me by now. She's put up with me this long, So, but shout out to Ron Harper. I mean, I should have just focused on mastering my defense.
He looked a little bit swollen.
He better get back on the treadmill because he's not playing anymore. So, but anyway, Dylan Harper got overshadowed by his mom. And then I think, that guy swearing that was perfect. And we saw it live. Like we both caught it live, which was fantastic. God. And then I think, a lot of waterworks. We had the Duke Center. He was crying, but he has a compelling story.
Shadow,
yeah, he has a compelling story. And then I think Wolf, who kind of slid, and his brother. Sweet Lord.
I think he's still crying as we speak.
I know. I mean, you talk about a river runs through it. I mean, my Lord. God. We called him Puddles. Yeah.
So we're allowed to give name. That's all friendly, I know.
Yeah. But Puddles, I mean, that kid, I don't know what was going through his mind, but he needed to get it together.
Everybody were like affected by this.
And then we also caught this live and then saw it when Andrews, the ESPN reporter, and she announced this guy. So imagine you're a college kid. You're 19, 20 years old. You've worked so hard, done all these sacrifices and commitments to finally have your shining moment. He got picked, I think it was 12 or whatever.
11 by Portland.
11. I mean, so, there's only 32 NBA franchise, 30, that's right. And they only have 15. But anyway, the point is elite company to be able to be an NBA player. Like, it's not easy to do. Gets picked, and she calls him Colin Cowherd, who is a sports announcer or reporter on the West Coast. He's probably in his 50s, not exactly an athletic dude, although he's in shape. And then so we caught that. We're like, Colin Cowherd, and then sure enough, 3 minutes later on social media, there's Colin Cowherd. They put his picture in like a Portland jersey or whatever, and all that. It was just so it was more about like not basketball related stuff that the draft. I'm going to remember.
We were crying. We were literally crying. So when he said, so Cedric Coward, like Colin Coward, and then the dude right after got traded to Utah for a Chinese guy called Yang Hansen. Yeah. And actually, this is the intriguing pick for me. The Jan Hansen, I saw him on TV, on NBA TV last week. I was looking at some workout. And he was literally the shining guy, and I didn't remember directly yesterday when we watched it, but then I remember when I was heading to bed, and I'm like, wait a minute, this Chinese is the guy that I was actually watching last week, and said, who is that guy? Because I was Googling him, and I look on my phone, I look at history, and that's the name that I was Googling. So he was expected to be mid-second rounds, and he got picked on
16,
pick
right?
number 16, and Portland traded for him. So that's the mystery pick. Of course, you have Trey Johnson, my Longhorns guy, he has a beautiful stroke, like 3-point shooter, amazing. So I think that's going to be good. A lot has been said about this kid from Oklahoma, Jeremiah Fears, who's heading to New Orleans. New Orleans also has a couple of very good players heading there, but they have one player that I think will be the best of the draft, Queen. I do not believe, and I mean, I'm sorry, Derek, if you listen.
You mean the worst of the draft?
The
Bust. Okay,
Sorry, if you
Yeah.
listen, you're welcome to come, and we have you as a guest with open arm. But I do not believe that that style of player succeed in NBA, and he's a little bit overweight, wings 3-4 that will probably end up 4 as soon as he's getting older because he's not athletic.
Yeah,
Yes, he had like a good run in the NCAA tournament. I know he played in Montverde before and stuff. So, but he has a good IQ. That's sport IQ for sure, basketball IQ. But otherwise, those kind of players tend to fail in NBA. The only player that this style who actually succeed is Randolph and Memphis and Portland. So this is really like for me a pick that a lot of fans liked a lot because of what he did in NCAA tournament, beating on the buzzer by dribbling between his leg all the court and winning shoot against Colorado State. But it's someone who would be better, I think, in college than in NBA. I wish him the best. I hope I'm wrong for him. But I think if I have to pick a bust, that's the player I would pick. What about you?
Same. That and I don't like the French guy who bailed on his team and just
100%.
to go to the draft when he was supposed to be in the championship game. So I think Chicago took a flyer on him. He's got good measurables, but
Noah Essengate.
Yeah, I kind of think that may not work out. Like I get it. It's an amazing moment in his life, but we were talking about, they had a couple of things. They were talking about Cooper Flagg, about his teammate. They were talking about that Wolf and kind of a teammate he is, and some of these other guys, and even the other one who got drafted from Germany, but he wasn't there.
Ben Saraf, the guard from Israel, who go Brooklyn as well.
Yeah, and so I think I don't like that sort of stuff. Like, you don't bail on your team, and especially he's getting paid.
I know
over there, so do your job.
Yeah, I agree. When I told you the story yesterday, and I was like, that's if I'm a team, I'm like, okay, this guy wants fame more than his teammate. I mean, he's literally a guy who played on the highest level in Germany, and they are in the final. Let's say an NBA finals of Germany, and the guy decided to go at the draft to be picked. Number what, like 8, 9, something like that. No. Like 12.
Yeah, 12.
To pick 12 to just be shaking the hand of the commissioner and bail on his team. And his team said, you don't need to come back. So they just will play without one of their player. And they got 2 players, like you mentioned, drafted. So him got drafted 12 by the Chicago Bulls. And then you had Ben Saraf, a guard from Israel who play in Germany. Who is draft 26, who was not there because he was playing for his team.
Right.
And I think it says a lot about a 19-year-old. Come on, you have all your life to. If you are gonna be good, nobody will remember that draft thing. They will remember that you played through and won a championship in Germany instead of coming and just shake the hand of the commissioner, basically. Yeah. So I agree with you. Those 2 were the 2 that I would feel. Player slipping, I had Liam McNeely so much higher. So it's the kid from Connecticut. Also, he was the best player at Montverde with Cooper Flagg back in the day. And I love this player. He's poised. He's smart. He has a great shoot, dribbling. I mean, penetration. He's a great defender. He's a whole around player. And for the Charlotte Hornets, who traded for him at the 29th spot for the spot of Phoenix, I think it's good. And Charlotte, it's always hit or miss, but they got this kid. I think he's gonna be great. And then the kid from Duke, Knuppel.
Yeah.
So I think that if LaMelo Ball can stay healthy, Miller can stay healthy. That's a lot of if, but those things can happen because Charlotte had the trade of the night. Like, they literally traded their center. Robert Williams to Phoenix for the 29 picks, which end up being a steal for me, Liam McNeely, and the first round pick of next year, who will be the best between Phoenix and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So it will be a high draft pick. Phoenix will not go nowhere,
right?
And Milwaukee, we don't know.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a top 10 pick probably. So they get a steal in the draft this year and a top prospect next year for Williams, who is, we know he has some injuries, like history that
Oh yeah. Well,
may
he
cause
couldn't
a
go
lot
to
of
the Lakers.
exactly. The
Yeah,
Lakers would
right,
not
yeah.
needed him. So the
Yeah.
fact that they changed means that they saw something that was not good to see. So I that's my bust. Those are my bust. Those are my sleepers of the draft. But
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg is the guy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think way too early take because obviously a lot can still happen before things kick off the season in October. But I would say teams that were either in the play-in or didn't make playoffs this year, I think are in next year. Dallas for sure, and I think San Antonio for sure. So you think about all right, those two teams are going to earn their independence from being in the lottery land, since July 4th thing. I think some teams you have to watch if they drop out. Like I know you don't like them, but you respect how they play. But I think the Clippers could drop. I think depending on the health, we were talking about Denver and what do they do?
Memphis.
Memphis for sure, yeah, and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting, but the West is going to be a bloodbath. Just
100%. I
just a
couldn't agree
complete
more.
bloodbath on that one. In the East, I think going back to some of those trades made before the draft. I know you've been big on Orlando for a while. They're starting to also get the national publicity now. I think they position themselves with getting Bain. Also had a good draft, I thought, for players that they needed, and the East is going to be wide open.
Yeah, Indiana and Boston sliding because of obvious injuries of Tatum and Halliburton, and the two going up, Detroit and Orlando. Those are the two that, and again, a lot can happen. Detroit are clearly like working very hard to try to get a star to join this team who's experienced. So we'll see if they pull a trigger at someone and who. But they missed Ivy last year as well in the playoffs. If Ivy was in the playoff, they may have beaten New York
Yes.
in the first round. So I mean, a lot can happen again. And Stewart didn't play neither last year in the playoff. I'm not a big fan, but he's a guy that's played 20 minutes under the board and physical with Cat, who hates player like that.
Yeah.
Smaller, very aggressive, strong on their feet. So that would have played a role as well. So I clearly see those two teams going up: Orlando, Detroit, and Indiana, Boston dropping. On the West, Clippers, Memphis are the two teams that I see would slip out of the playoff, and the two in definitely then Dallas and San Antonio. I'm not sure. San Antonio, it will depend of their health a lot and if they can get someone inside. If they don't get someone inside, they get destroyed under the board again. So, and I'm afraid of that part for San Antonio, but I'm sure they will try to fix this. Same for Lakers. Lakers needs the same. Lakers needs a center and they need a point guard. So they need those two things. Even though Luka will be handling the ball most of the time, but they need a guard when he go on the bench, and they need someone next to him, and they don't have that currently. I think those two things will be important. So the second team, I mean, there are a lot of teams. I would put some, and it's a risky pick, but if I have to put a bet on something a little bit out of this, I'll put New Orleans.
Really?
If Zion can, and it's a big if, but if Zion can stay healthy with the addition that they had, I think that New Orleans can be the team to be represent. I mean, could be in the playoff next year.
Wow, that is a bold pick. I would not have picked them, so that'll be interesting. But I mean, shout out to the state of Texas. I mean, they got Houston, they got San Antonio, they got Dallas. I mean, one can make an argument the road to the Western or to the finals in the Western Conference could go through Texas, and LA obviously is going to be a factor, and so is OKC obviously, but yeah, OKC and Dallas or Texas. I mean, you got that.
I know, it's
The
just
little
next to it.
corridor there, right? They're kind of in the basketball center of the universe right now, so it should be interesting. I think the NBA, just to shift gears a little bit, I think it's going to be interesting to see. Windhorse was talking about that. I know we both like Brian Windhorse, the reporter. And he's talking about there's more whispers about the reseeding. Instead of doing conferences, you just seed the best 16 teams. But I don't think that's going to get traction because you need 24 owner votes out of the 30. And I mean, the East, why would you vote for that? But he was talking about, the two most likely expansion cities will be Las Vegas and Seattle. That'll obviously go on the West Coast. So they'll have to shift at least one team to the East Coast. And he was saying it would have to come from the Mississippi corridor, like Minneapolis, New Orleans, or who was the other one on the
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, something like that. So that'll be interesting. And then they'll be fighting because all of them will want to get over to the East because it'll be easier.
But again, it's changing all the time.
Yeah.
It's gonna change. So I think that would be the best way. The best way to do it is to rank the top 16 team and then rank them like that. But I don't see that happening. But I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see that being approved anytime because it's gonna always be one defavor for, a group of people not in favor, and it's not gonna block. They need to come from like when the CEB is in place. That's a decision that needs to be made there. I think like, hey, starting that year, like 3 years from now, whatever, in 2030, that's where we do a series seeding. So nobody can see what the future about what's going to be the position of each region, each conference at that time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it is going to be interesting. The NBA is in an interesting state because you got the lower viewership. The TV deals are going to continue to increase for the salary cap, but they have these penalties where they're trying to drive more parity like the NFL. So, and then if they have expansion, it's just an interesting time with the NBA to see kind of what direction they go. And can Cooper Flagg be that kind of like next face of the NBA, right? Like, it maybe not, but that's a lot to put on somebody who's just 18 years old. But they kind of need that because LeBron, he's got to retire at some point.
No. I know. I think Wembanyama, Luka, maybe Cooper Cup. I don't know. I think those are probably the biggest one. But by the way, Cooper Cup. We checked
Flagg.
yesterday. Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg. With his salary now as a first rounder, he will get X amount of dollar for X amount of years. And based on the projection of the salary moving forward, by looking at the last 5 years evolution of the salaries, by signing a supermax contract, which unless Dallas decide to go the road of Luka again, if they sign a super contract, he signed a super contract for 5 years. And he re-signed a super contract after that, which happened for those superstars who stay, like Duncan, like Dirk didn't because he took a huge pay cut. But the players who stayed, like Kobe at that and stuff, he would make $975 million in his career in 14 years.
A lot of coin. So the lesson here, kids. Shoot your free throws.
No, just do not go to school anymore, and just take the ball and play every day 8 to 10 hours. I'm kidding, but yeah, no, that's insane. The kind of money that comes out of it.
I know it's wild. But gonna be interesting to see. But the NBA needs a face. I think SGA MVP. Yes, the casual fan.
No, he's not a fan.
And in Minnesota, I think he missed the mark. The way they got taken care of by OKC and that, he missed his opportunity. So who's it going to be? Who knows? If nothing else, could always go to Dylan Harper's mom. But with that, winners, we will end this episode and hope you all enjoy your 4th of July holiday and celebrate America's birthday. But with that, please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow 2 for the Win on your favorite platform. And thank you to Hard Rock Bet for sponsoring today's episode. That'll be all for now, winners. You take care. Happy Friday.
May the force be with you.